So, well, as I said, I wanted to speak a little bit about what Rogue is. And the idea is it's a Revit online group, not a Revit users group. And the big difference is that the Revit user group generally they're trying to sell you software. We're not here to sell
Sorry.
anyone.
I've got to put on my headphone.
You couldn't hear me talking?
I'm sorry. I'm been a long day.
That's all right. So the
I was so
idea
into fixing this hood.
So the idea is that we have this stream for a Revit online group. The UE stands for user evolution. And the idea is for anyone from even the earliest beginner to even the most experienced expert should be able to take something away that they can increase their capabilities. So what we're going to start is this first 3 weeks, we're going to do starting from scratch. So Tyler, if you share just your one big screen, just the Revit have open. You hear me, Tyler? Tyler, did I lose you? Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't know what happened to Tyler.
It looks like he's still on there, right? Did he go for a cord maybe?
He might have. All right. So I'll share my screen. Of course, now all notifications will be shared with the entire world because I'm on a small enough screen so other people can see it. So what will we do? We go to new. Oh, helps if you close your help. New.
All right, I'm back.
New project. Tyler?
Yes, sir. I just got back.
All right, good. So if you probably can't see my screen, what I want you to do is I want you to go to new.
Under models or family?
Under models. Good question. Models. And what I want you to do for the time being, and I'll be honest with you, I still to this day always start with the architectural template. So we see where it says a construction template. I always start with the architectural template, and that's always given me a foundation to know what my file starts with. So if you said, okay, Ginger, do you have your computer with you? Ginger, you're on mute. She may want to stay on mute. Remember, we can always communicate through the private chat. If you feel you want to tell me something, feel free to go over to private chat on the side and type something into me. All right. So what that does is that starts out with this architectural template. And to be honest with you, I think that we need to go through the architecture. I know you guys want to be mechanical, but I think we need to learn all the disciplines because it's BIM. So this first 3 weeks, what we're going to basically do is learn a little bit of structural, a little bit of mechanical, a little bit of electrical. Try to learn a little bit about all of them so you know where the tools are, and then you can go find them. So when you start out a program, when you start out the Revit program, there's 2 windows up on the left side of the screen. One is the properties box. You got it. And right below that is the project browser. We're going to teach you a little bit about those as we go. But other than that, we're going to really try to walk right across all the icons on the top. And then we're going to try to go through each one of the tabs. That's what we're going to cover in 3 weeks' time. We're doing this in about 3 to 4 days of all-day training. So if I went into a company, I would generally do it in 3 to 4 days. That's what 4 days times 8 is 32 hours. The way I figure it out, If we do this 4 nights a week at an hour and a half each night, that's going to give us 6 hours during the week and a 4-hour on the weekend. That's 10 hours a week we're going to get in. In 3 weeks, we should be able to get so that you can find your way around. It will then take you a lifetime to master this software, which is the reason I think this Rog website should even exist. Forgive me. All right. So, first button on your screen is going to be the wall. And there are other objects underneath it, but for right now, I just want you to pick the wall. All right. Now, that is a system family. So what it's going to do is over in the properties box at the top, it's going to show you what type of wall you're working with. And I'd like to work with one a little bit prettier than that. So underneath where it says basic wall, generic 8 inches, I want you to pick that one that says brick and CMU on a metal stud. Nope, the top one. There you go. All right. So generally, Revit wants to draw what, clockwise or counterclockwise, Eric or Misty? Do you remember? What you're going to try to do is we're going to try to draw the footprint of a building in between those 4 little symbols that are on there. Those are elevation markers, which we will end up getting into, but somewhere inside of that middle, I want you to draw the footprint of your building. So when you start drawing, go ahead and click on your screen. Now, if you zoomed in a little bit, you would see if you're drawing clockwise, the brick is on the outside of the wall. But if you decided you wanted to draw counterclockwise, there's a very important button, and this button is going to come in for lots of commands, and that is right now, if you hit your space bar, Tyler, you'll see that it will flip that location. Okay? Now, generally, if I'm going to be drawing a brick wall, I would want to set my units so I'm snapping to every 8 inches so that things stay in coursing. Right now, at that certain zoom level, you're going to be snapping to, see right now it's snapping every 2 feet. Zoom in, and you'll find that it starts snapping. Now it's snapping every 6 inches. So if you were doing a brick building, it would really benefit you to change that from every 6 inches to every 4 inches. And I will show you how to do that probably middle of next week. Okay? But hit your space bar and then draw a shape of a building. Uh-huh. Oh, you're going to get a nice square building. I love it. It's beautiful. You're going to be an architect. As we drew that, did you notice that it was throwing those little dimensions up there like it's showing you that 80 foot? If you went and clicked on that 80 foot, you would actually find you could type in 60 foot. Those are called temporary dimensions. And if you did, it would make that building 60 foot. All right. So the idea is as you're drawing, so let's add a little garage to the side of this thing so you can park your toys and keep your guns. Which side you want it on? All right, so there you go. You did a good job with hitting the space bar. How wide is that garage? Probably 22 feet. Oh, you went 40. You want a big one. Perfect. Now come on down. Nope. Don't do it the full length.
Where's the undo at?
Nope. Don't go to undo.
Just draw the wall, but don't connect it. No, don't connect it.
That's all right. Now escape 2 times. Escape 2 times to get out of the command. Okay, that's going to be real important. Now pick that short last wall you drew. The short one. Grab that little blue dot at the end of it. Other end. And pull it away. Don't make it shrink to nothing. There you go. Just pull it away a little bit. Perfect. Now notice your temporary dimensions there. Well, for a garage, you really only need 22 feet deep. So change that 60 to a 22. Okay.
All right.
So you can see your overall building is pretty doggone big,
Right.
but that's not a problem. So now the way a CAD user would always think, because in CAD we always had trim, a CAD user would think to trim those two walls so that they were open, so that you had the open floor plan. So up at the top of your screen, when you've got an object selected, notice the tabs. We don't have the wall as in our first one because we're not on the architecture tab. Because we've selected something, we're in the modify. So you would find the trim. If you come over to about the middle, you're going to see, there you go. That's the one. That's the one most CAD users would use, that they could trim and pick those two walls and it would trim them together. So pick on that and give that a try. The pick on pick the short wall. Now, whichever side of the wall you pick on, the big wall, it's going to keep the side you're picking on. You see how it's giving you the green dots to tell you that? Yep. Perfect. So there's your garage. So what happens is, what was so unique about Revit is while you're drawing this plan, it's actually drawing the elevations, it's drawing the 3D view, and I just want you to get a feel of those two views beside each other. So across the very top, there's little icons. There's one that's a picture of a house. No, at the very top of your window. There you go. The one that's a house. You see the one that looks like a house? Hit that, and that's going to open your 3D view. So that's what you've drawn so far. Okay. If you go down to where it says in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, it says 1/8 of an inch. I want to show you where the shaded view is. That's the second icon past an 1/8 inch. The little box. Hit that and do shaded. Okay. So the interesting thing is, when you were drawing that wall, you were not connecting it to an upper level. So if you picked on the wall and looked at the properties, you're going to see a thing that says base constraint is level 1, top constraint is unconnected. So really what you would normally want to do is connect that to a level. Okay. So instead of doing just one of those, if you go back over that wall and you hit the tab button, and this is going to be very important. It's like the space bar button. When you do the tab, go ahead. You'll see that now if you pick on that wall, you would pick all of the walls. Oh, try that again. There you go, and pick. See how it selected them all blue? You see where it says top constraint unconnected? Make that say top constraint level 2. All right. Ginger would be quick to tell you that it's not going to accept that until you move your cursor back over the white screen. So see, as soon as you move your cursor over that white screen, boom, it automatically did that. Does that make sense? Did I lose you?
No, that made sense.
All right. So if you zoomed into where it says level 1 and level 2, those little icons in there, zoom in a little bit closer so you can see them. You're going to see right now level 2's at 10 foot. But maybe your level 2 for this big of a footprint building is probably at like 16 foot. So change it to 16 foot and watch what happens. Because you had the wall attached to that level, it then grew. If it was unconnected, it would have stayed a 20-foot wall. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we go back to our level 1 tab on Look at the tabs for the windows. Up a little bit and over to the right. It says level 1 and then it says 3D. Nope, a little bit of up. Nope, too far.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Those are the window tabs. So this might be a good time if you're early in setting this up. It might be a good idea for you to just slide that whole building over a little bit so it's centered real well through those elevations. I like that. And if you hold the shift button when you do the arrow, it's like a turbo nudge. You see how it jumps bigger? And if you don't have your shift, then it's a little step. And that's all related to how far you're zoomed in. Okay?
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
Why does the north wall still have the separation at where the other wall was joined in?
If he pulled that away, pick one of those walls. Nope. You're picking two walls at the same time. Hit escape. Pick one wall. Pull that dot away. Not that far, just a little bit, just to open up a gap. Now pull it back and tap it back into that wall, and it should turn it into one wall. Nope. It's probably because there's the nested sweeps inside that wall.
Okay.
That would be my guess, Eric. So let's draw another wall, and you're going to try to put a little bit of some rooms in there. So when you're drawing this wall, it's probably a good idea that this wall doesn't have brick on it unless you really want brick inside your house. Right. So if you'll pick one of the ones that says go down, roll your wheel down, you're going to find some interiors. I love how they name those. Pick one of those. I don't care which one.
Okay.
Perfect. Now you're gonna see you would be making a room that's about 21 foot wide, or 24 foot wide, and then draw down, click and draw down. Right? See, and now you just made a 22 by 24 foot room, and then draw it back over and divide that area up into some spaces. I don't care if you have angled walls. One of the neat ones, if you would hit hit escape one time. Escape one time.
Oh.
When you draw that wall and it goes to that exterior wall, if you snap, right? So draw me another. What are you going to draw? A little chase or a little bathroom or something? Draw one. I want to show you that when you draw, if you would have snapped to that blue line like it's doing right there, it would have automatically reset you into drawing the next wall. You wouldn't have had to hit that escape. Perfect. So pick that. Now, when you go over and hit the big wall, not there. Keep going. Hit that one. You see the difference in the blue? So when if you go to that one, what you're going to find is click. It automatically starts you into your next wall. You didn't have to hit that escape like you did the last time.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And that's a trick that it probably took a couple years before I realized that, because when you're having to draw hundreds of walls, that escape can get a little bit annoying, and that was what Eric was trying to allude to. So draw me a couple more walls. You've got 3 minutes. Draw as many walls as you can. Eric, you see how it joined that one?
Yeah. Yeah, it has to do with the complications of that wall.
Yep. It's also why he couldn't snap to it. Did you notice that? It would.
Yeah, he's hitting right in that area. You can
listen,
get it right
Tyler.
there.
If you take your mouse a little bit to the left or the right, not a long way, see how it will snap? And geez, that's what I was looking for. See, so much of Revit is playing it like a video game. You got to know when the computer's giving you some feedback. And that's what most people don't realize. I don't know. How long did it take you, Eric, to, I mean, it was a good 10 years before I realized that. What are you going to do if you want a curved wall, Tyler? Nope, you're in the right spot. It's on the screen. See if you can find where you would draw a curved wall. There you go. There you, and it's actually, I usually use the first one that's on those curves because that's going to be a 3-point curve. And just try it out and see if you can see how that curve reacts. It picks the start, the end, and then the curve. There you go. Curved wall. One more wall when you're done. So you drew 3 pieces to make one. I like that. All right. So hit escape 2 times. Notice that that top menu goes back to the architects tab. And we now get into doors. We're going to do the door. We're going to go right across these icons. And that's a perfect thing to do, is to say, wow, it's probably just like the walls, except the difference is a wall is a system family, and this is an independent family. So we can make any kind of door we want. This is where you have to make the family. So all that they've given you is single doors. So we'll put a couple of single doors in. Then we'll show you how you get to a double door. Before you click, try the space bar every now. See what space bar does. See that? And do you see how whichever side of the wall you're on, that's what side it's going to swing to? And typically we would never put those right up against the wall like that. You got to have enough room for a double jack, a double stud, because you need a jack stud and a king stud at the door. So you would typically be 4 inches off, 6 inches off, whatever somebody would like. Once again, we're going to show you how you can actually set that in one of the later classes. So if you wanted to place a different kind of door at the top of your screen, the toolbar, nope, go back to your modify tab. Look at the last 3 buttons on the list. There you go, load family. And hit that. And here we would go into the doors folder. And that would be all the different kind of doors that you can put in. Be careful, those curtain wall doors are only work for curtain walls. So until we get to curtain walls, you're not going to know how to use those. But if you wanted a double glass door, come down to the double glass, or overhead rolling for your garage, overhead sectional for your garage. There you go. Try putting a couple doors in, and then we're going to jump to the next one. Ooh, a rear entry. The blue box is supposed to be the coil, and that's usually inside the building. So you'd want to go the other, there you go. That's the side you would typically go. Now hit escape 2 times, pick that door, and hit your space bar. There you go. And you would flip it back in. You could also pick on that door. When they created that door, they put flip controllers in it. Do you see those little double arrow looking things? Nope. The one's up on top of it. That's it. So if you wanted to flip the direction or flip the side, you can flip by clicking on there. But remember, I told you that space bar is going to come in real handy with lots of things, even structure and mechanical. Okay. Why don't you put a nice double door wherever your front door is? So remember how to do that? Go back. Nope. What you would be doing right now is you're going to change that door that you've got selected. Got to hit escape 2 times. Get off of that object. Go back to door. See how the window, that thing came back up? Load family. Perfect. Double glass. I love it. This one is pretty neat. It, depending on how you make the family, you can make a table of all the different door sizes that you want. So you just pick one like a 6. Yeah, there you go. There you go. And you would pick the actual size. That's when it gets into how we build these families. All right. Escape 2 times. That'll get your tool palette back to where we are on the architecture mode. Windows. That's pretty self-explanatory. You can just run yourself a route. Now, what you'd want to keep in mind is you want to click. See, now you're going to put one window facing in and one window facing out. You always want to click on the outer part of that wall, not the inner part. There you go. So put windows all the way around it. You can make a bigger window. You know how to do that, right? Go over to the properties and pick yourself a different window. If you wanted other windows, where would you go? Load family, right on the money. You would have to go back out of doors. So go up one folder to the U.S. Imperial. Now you see windows down at the bottom. There's a nice triple casement. There you go. Throw one of those things in there. Remember, there you go.
When he doesn't select the size out of the table, is it just give him the first one?
Yep, just gives them the first one.
Okay.
Try one more type of window. Then we'll move to the next. You see how you only had one style under that? That was what Eric was telling you. If you go load a family and you hold your shift, you can load like 5 different sizes of that transom type. No, you got to go to load family. And then see if you pick one of those guys. No, don't do the skylight round. No, not the skylight round. There you go. Try that one. So this one, what you do is hold your shift button and pick all the sizes you want. So that was it. You had it. Now you say okay, and it's going to load all of those in. And it's going to tell you that's not really a good idea because it's going to make your file size big. So what you'd want to do is you'd want to say, these are the windows I'm after, or the way Revit's made to be used is you can always go back and select the windows later and make the windows you placed the right size. It's not going to crush your computer, trust me.
So Brian, what that's doing is that's loading one family with 8 types or whatever.
Probably 30 types. Hit overwrite existing.
Okay, but would the family be bigger or smaller if he loaded all 30 types or if he only loaded 2 types? The family houses the information regardless, correct?
No, the project will grow in size if you have a bunch of families. That's why when we do our purge, our file size comes down.
Okay.
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Okay, but Skylar or Tyler, do you see where it says skylight round? Go down and look at how many you loaded down for the casement. You see how you got a lot of them? Okay. Double escape and get us back to our main menu. So you could come back and put in windows and doors. The next object is a component. Now the window and door, they're a little bit special with families because they're a wall hosted family that cuts the wall. The rest of your components, like your hot water heater and You can see there's trees. You can see there's parking spaces. You can also do load and furniture and get a whole bunch of more furniture. Right? Furniture, tables, beds, storage. So if you went into the bed, you'd find a bed. Right? And if you pick the bed standard, I'm curious. When you say open, does it ask you for a king, queen? No, this one probably loaded them all in. Let's see down where beds are. See, this loaded a king, a queen, a twin, and a double. Hit your space bar if you want it to rotate. We're going to show you something special about the space bar. All right, hit escape 2 times for me. So, I told you we were going to get through the architecture tab. We're going to jump into the annotate tab real quick, and I need you to draw me an arc. And if I'm ever telling you to draw me a line, I do not want you to draw a model line, the one that's on the architecture tab. I want you to draw me a detail line. Come over a little bit, Tyler. Detail line. Up there you go. Now, do you remember where our sketch mode is? Just like when we were in the wall command, where did you do the arc? Oh, go to the arc. No. Go back out to the modify detail lines tab. There you go. I knew you'd find it. And just draw me an arc in that room. Perfect. So what that allowed me to do is I now want you to go place a chair. So go back to your component and get me a chair. That's good. You're going to look for a chair already loaded. If you can't find one, you're going to be right on the money. Seating. Perfect. Love it. You're going to find the ones they give you are all lame. Now, I want you to go down to where that, zoom into where we drew that arc. And I want you to hover that thing over top. Now hit the space bar. Look at what it, now move it. Look at what it does. Pretty cool. It keeps it aligned with that geometry. So sometimes we want to draw the lines so that we could put those chairs in a circle. Does that make sense? Right? Pretend this is a sports arena. It might be a way for us to get all of our stadium seating to go around the curve. Okay? You can go ahead and hit escape. The components, that's going to be, like I said, anything that's not a wall, a floor, a roof. You probably want to search a little bit in there. Like I said, there's some people in Entourage is people. You see Entourage? It's right at the top of your list. Now it's at the bottom of your list. See, you got a man, a female, you got a chair, a VW bug, a semi truck. That wouldn't quite. You'd have to expand your garage a little bit and put a loading dock out there for it.
Yeah.
Right? But you're getting a feel for it.
Right.
So the next object over is very similar. It's just going to place a family, but this family is going to be a column. Now, below that, what you're going to be drawing is an architectural column. Nope, I lied to you. By default, right now it says place structural column. You see it out at the top?
Yep.
All right, hit escape 2 times and go underneath the column. There's an architectural column. Now that thing is really neat. If you zoom in to all right, now if you place that so that thing hits a wall, that'd be fine like that. Watch what happens. What happens is it actually wraps the wall. You see how it's cleaning out the wall? If you put one right in the middle of a wall, you'll find it's going to be like a pilaster.
I gotcha.
All right. Now, what I want you to do is go to a 3D view so we can sort of see what we've drawn to this point. But look what it did for those columns. The inside is the gray colored like the paint, where the outside is the CMU. It takes the material from the outside object and applies it to the outside of that column, and it takes the material from the inside. If you're over in your level 1, go back to your level 1 for a second.
Mm-hmm.
If you zoomed in real close to that, hit double escape to get out of the place in the column command. All right, you remember where we did the box right before the shaded view? The one before the shaded view is detail level. Nope, keep it. You can keep that hidden line. That one. See, if you change this to fine, what you would see is, do you see how it wrapped that brick around there? So that
Right.
architectural column is a very special object, okay? Because it inherits those materials. A regular family and a door and a window, those kinds of families can't do what that architectural column can do.
How does it decide the low wall versus the high wall material?
It's the order. It's the order and the components setup of that actual wall. And remember, that wall's a little bit of a crazy wall, to be honest with you. That was cool in the beginning. I like to do it for training because, I mean, heck, it looks like you're drawing something, doesn't it, Tyler?
Yeah.
Right? That's why I like to use that wall in the beginning. But in the end, I'll tell you, I would almost never build a wall that way, because when an architect tells you he wants you to change the band and do this and do that, it's very difficult to work with that wall.
It'll ruin your day.
It'll ruin your day. Okay? So if you go back to your level 1, we're going to get to the next one is a roof. And we're going to do a roof by footprint. It's good to look underneath there. We're just going to do that roof by footprint. It's going to tell you you don't want to really put this roof on the first floor, and you're going to say, yeah, that sounds great. I'll put it on level 2. And say yes. Now, here's the neat thing. Do you see how you're picking on that wall? Pick on that wall again. If you hit the, you jumped the gun on me. Hit escape 2 times. Pick that purple line and delete it. Let's go to boundary again. No, you're still in the draw. Listen, did you get to watch Ginger drawing the family the other day? Because you're in what's called sketch mode. We know that when there's a red X and a green check box.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot place windows. You cannot do anything else until you get rid of that green checkbox or that red X, either one. Now,
Right.
typically, you'd want to just start over. But what I want to show you is all you need to do is when you pick the roof, it went into the boundary line command. So hit the little boundary line next to the red X. And in the next one where we did our draw arc, there's a special one that says pick walls. It's the green one right below that, an over one. Perfect. Pick
Okay.
that. Now go over that wall and don't pick till I say. See, you would have had to pick all the walls around there. But what if you hit tab? What if you're over one wall and you hit tab? Look at that.
Right.
It just traced all the way around all the walls. Now you pick, and it just drew all of those lines in. Okay?
Okay.
Wherever you see that little symbol, that's telling you that that face is going to be sloped. So we do have a little bit of a problem is the back wall has 2 pink lines, the back wall, the up at the top. You need to delete one of those pink lines. In order to do that, escape. Now you can pick and delete that thing. Perfect. Now, do your fillet to fillet those pink lines. You remember that is also very acceptable, and that's actually what Revit wants you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
at this point, if we hit a checkbox, it would draw that roof, and all the faces would be sloped. So let's try that. It's the green checkbox.
Well, I got a question real quick.
Sure,
I see
sure.
these symbols are all inside the walls here, and they're outside the walls here for some reason.
Yeah.
What's that about? No reason.
Well, let's see what it's going to do. With hit that green check, and we'll know.
It looks
Pick
like it
ones
did
in,
it.
pick ones in white space and orbit a little bit, so you can see what it's doing. You see what it did?
Okay, it just separated.
I think in that instance, it doesn't matter which side that slope is on.
Yeah, I think that's just view representation.
Gotcha.
So if you wanted to pick on the roof and go back to editing it, so pick the roof and then say edit the roof. You see up at the top, it says edit footprint. Now, pick that little end over the garage. That one, yep.
Okay.
And up at the top, there's a little toolbar. And I'll be honest, you're going to find that as you get up into the newer releases, they're trying to get rid of that toolbar. There's a checkbox that says define slope. It's just nope,
Below
it's
the
below,
buttons.
down just a little bit. It's between our tag. That's it. Right on that bar. Look over a little bit. Take the define slope off.
Okay.
And say okay. And you're going to see that now that one piece of the roof is not sloped, it's gabled. That makes sense?
I mean, no, because of
Okay.
that. But yes.
Go, that's what it's doing. So
Right.
we can decide which. I would also say let's edit that roof footprint again. Edit
Basically,
the
where you see the angled lines, it's telling you that it's going to draw that roof at that slope. If you don't have that slope, it's going to be flat, which is going to be straight up.
Right.
That's correct. And what I'm thinking is all of the edges that are going that same direction as that one, make all of those gabled. So there's 2 more of those. Let's see if we can pick those 2 lines. Pick that one. Hold your control. No, not that one. The one on the top of the screen, all the way to that one. Hold your control and pick it, and then you'll get both of them. Then you can take that defined slope off of both of them at the same time and finish the roof. See, now you got these simple trusses. You don't have the hip trusses.
Right.
All right. Now, what we can do is if you pick that wall right there that you're looking at, that would be a good idea, but look at the tops of the screen. The contextual menu, that's where when we pick on an object, the things we can do to it show up. And do you see what the one right next to that says? Attach top. If you pick that and then
It'll
pick
close
the roof, it'll go up and close it to the roof.
Okay.
Okay. And guess what?
Is it because there is a parapet on top of the wall? Is that why we're getting that line in there?
Yeah, that's why that line is there. That's a wall sweep.
And you would have to build another wall above your garage to close that section.
Well, let's actually go into that. So this is where typically we would be keeping everything super simple, but this is where for some of the advanced people we'll throw in a piece. Tyler, pick that wall. Eric's got a problem with that white line that's going across it. So I want to show him where that is. If you go over to where the properties are, where we change the different wall types, there's a button that says edit type. You see that just at the top of where you're at. Edit type. Perfect. Now, do you see where the word structure is? We want to hit edit that. All right. So what we want to do is we want to work on wall sweeps. But the problem is you can't work on wall sweeps until you look at the preview. These are just the core boundaries. We will get into all these eventually. But when you hit preview, and you see at the bottom where it says floor plan, modify type. Yep, change that to a section. So that cap that's on the top, I think you can pick it. Pick that cap. Nope, you can't. So
I think you can in newer versions. If this is 2020, I think you can in newer versions.
I think that's where I saw it as well. But what you would have to do is look over on the right. There's going to be a thing that says sweeps, reveals. Nope, down near the help button. Down near the help button. There you go. Do you see the one that's on the top that says parapet cap? You would actually see that when you picked on that, I think it turns blue in your view. You see it turn blue? And you would just say delete that. Then that white thing wouldn't go across because typically that cap would only be if you had a flat roof. Nope. What I want you to do is go down to the delete button. There you go. And say okay.
And apply first, or?
Nope, you don't have to hit apply. When we hit okay, it's the same as apply and okay again. And that white band would no longer be going across there.
Okay.
Okay. But do you see how you have to go to the section view if those sweeps are built in to your wall type? That's why generally I'm going to show you when we go back through this in one of the later classes, we're going to show you how to put those sweeps on individually, which I've learned in my experience is the best way to do it. So go ahead and hit OK. And OK. And you see how that took that white sweep across there? If you want to try to fill in that gap behind there, you feel free on your own time, but we're not going to get into that on the first day. That is a problem that a lot of people struggle with. And that's where I'm telling you, if we take snippets from these streams, there's a lot of little tips that a lot of people would love if we could break that stuff down. All right. So we'll maybe call these things hidden gems or something like that. And they'll be key points. And what we may do, because remember, we're supposed to be sort of discussing how this rogue's going to work, is maybe we'll have some indicator, maybe a bell or something. And then we could tell the AI to go look for those bells. And those are our key gems, and just break out that 30-second video before and after the bell. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we put in walls, we put in doors, we put in windows, components or furniture, water heaters, sinks, that kind of stuff, architectural columns and structural columns, and a roof. So the next one you got to do is a ceiling. Let's go back to our plan view. Here's the neat thing. Before you click on your screen, do you see over in the properties box, you're going to be putting in a drop ceiling at 8 foot high.
Okay.
All right. So you might change that to 9 foot. You might do not 8, a 2x4. You might put the gypboard ceiling. There you go. And maybe change it from a 2x4 to a gypboard ceiling. There you go. You'll notice on the left hand of all your tool buttons, all your icons, you got automatic ceiling and sketch ceiling. Sketch means we manually draw it, but what you typically want to do is automatic. And then what happens when you're in a room, it's going to put that ceiling height in there. Go ahead and click a couple. We'll end up seeing them when we look at this in a section. So just go around and put one in each room. That's just warrant. That's a good thing. That's just like a little nagging warning. It's like your girlfriend reminded you to do something that you don't have to. right? Now it's telling you just
Identical.
put a bunch of ceilings on top of each other. That's your best way to get yourself in trouble with the BIM manager. Because remember, the whole idea of this BIM is we're going to be trying to track this. We're going to be saying, how much chipboard do we need? If we got two of these on top of each other, someone's going to say, why was our count off? And then we're going to track down where that came in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to see that. Hit escape 2 times. Let's pick the roof. Pick on the roof object. Do you see right above the word view in the toolbar, in the tool buttons? Look, go straight up. Now come down a little bit. There's another view below that. That one, you see that thing? Hit that.
Selection.
Yep. And what that's going to do is draw a little selection box. Orbit yourself down. You'll see that there are no ceiling. Nope. Keep looking at it from underneath. All right. Now pick that box. You see the little, nope, not those arrows, the one at the bottom. That's the top. Come down from that. That's the top. That's the bottom. There you go. There you go. So now you will see that you actually have ceilings in everything except your garage.
Right.
Okay. So that's how you would see those ceilings, is, other than drawing a section, which we're going to end up getting into. But the idea is you're now drawing your ceilings. So if we want to get rid of that section box, click once in white space. Over on your properties of the view. This is your views properties. You see, this is also another place to change the scale. If you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see one that says a section. Nope, not the browser, That one, yep. And that's why you went past it. That's got the section box in there. And that's the whole reason that I recommend you get the 42-inch monitor, because what happens is you'll see much more properties and you won't have to scroll, because when you're beginning, you don't know what all the different settings are. Okay.
Right.
If you click on that section box and go back over white space, you're going to see your building's going to come back. Okay. However, we don't have any floors. So let's go back to our level 1. To draw a floor is almost identical to drawing a roof. So when you go floor architectural. Notice it already went into boundary line and into select walls. You see the other little button next to that where it was select walls, and then we did the tab. Nope. Yeah. But if you notice, it's already selected the one with the green one with the walls.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So all you have to do is hover over top and pick. All right. Now, What happened was there was a checkbox on that. I call it the speed limit bar, that bar where what did we do in there? It's right above the properties. It said right now it says offset 00, and it says extend into wall core. That's why that pink line was drawn where it was. Okay, because it was extending that wall to the core material of that wall. So if you hit escape 2 times and zoom into where that pink line is and pick that line, pick it, you see your little flip arrow.
Yeah.
If you pick that, it's going to go to the other side of the core. So the idea is, does this go to the inside face of the stud or to the outside face of the stud? And that's going to be real important later on when we're looking at how buildings are built. Okay, that's the only real difference. And actually, that same effect is on the roof. Once you're done with that, you simply hit the green checkbox to say, I want to be done with sketch mode. And at this time, we've now drawn walls, doors, windows, components, columns, roofs, ceilings, and floors.
All right.
Okay. We're going to skip the curtain system and the curtain grid. Yeah, I think we want to skip them, and what we want to do is actually look at the and I don't know why they do railing first. I typically do the stair or the ramp first. So you want to be in a plan view to do this. Go to your level 1 plan view.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were going to get yourself an attic space up underneath that roof, let's say right in the middle, we're going to draw ourselves a stair. So when you go to stair, you're going to see it says under properties, we have a couple different choices for system stairs that we can draw. Nope. Properties over on the right or on the, yeah. So you got precast stair, monolithic stair, and 7-inch max riser stair. Now I will tell you, just bear with me. I got to go on a little bit of a rant here. If you're a person who's always just used your old template, if you weren't careful going from Revit 2015 to 2016, the stair and the handrail changed. So if you have a template that comes from a file older than 2015, your stairs won't work the new way. So that's something that I've caught a couple architectural firms doing. That's why I always start with the new template, the architectural template, which ironically they got rid of in 2024. But enough of a rant.
Are there still 2 ways to do the stairs?
There is. There is. The problem is all the new fancy end caps and stuff. Those people didn't have the ability to do it because they didn't have any of those default styles because the template started older than 2015.
I got you. I was just curious because I know I had some trouble with stairs the one time because I hadn't done many stairs lately, and I got into the new one, and it was not friendly to me.
All right, so this is one I'm just going to get you started on. You're just going to pick that 7-inch max riser. Go ahead. Now we're also going to look at what the constraints are in the properties. You see over in the properties, this is going to go from level 1 to level 2. It's going to tell us that in order to go that many stairs, that distance with this type of stair, it's going to want 28 treads. You see the desired number? And if you scroll down, there's a couple other settings. All right. So now what happens is when you click on your screen, it's going to start drawing this stair. Now, if you only wanted to go about halfway of the distance, see, so it's going to say 13, go one more tread. There you go. Now it's 14 and 14. Did you see that? Go to where it's in gray. 14 risers created, 14 remaining. Click when it's at that 14 and 14.
Where are you seeing that?
Right below your cursor.
Right below your cursor on the screen, it's telling you how many risers you're creating.
In gray.
Okay, there it is. Gotcha.
Yep. And click. Now come over a little bit from that spot. Nope. There you go. And click and draw up. Up. No, up. Right, because this is, and all the way past, so it says 0 remaining. Once it says 0 remaining, when you do your click, go ahead and click. That would be your stair. Now the idea is you could move that stair, pick on one of those treads. And nudge it over with your arrow. You see? And you could pick a loop around it, a window. And I think if you didn't watch Ginger's, I'll review this. If you click in white space to the right side of the stair and click and drag, go ahead. Nope, click and drag. Go to the white space again. And click. Do you see how that window that you're drawing is solid? that means it's only going to pick things inside that window. So you would have to be in that direction is crossing. There you go. So now you could nudge this down into a corner. You might rotate it. When you're done, you're going to hit the finish sketch. And it will have drawn that stair. If we wanted to see that stair, how that was actually looking, can you select that stair? That you're getting the rail. That's the stair. Type in BX. That's the one where it draws the section box. Okay. So you can see you need to carve a hole in that ceiling in order for that ceiling to go. You could stretch it up and you could see that now we could put a floor up at level 2 and you would have some attic space in there. So pick that ceiling and say edit boundary. It's going to be pretty unique what it does. It's going to show you that boundary down on the floor. You see the pink line down on the floor?
Mm-hmm.
And we could actually carve that out. Or we could use this idea that it's called island detection. That means the first circle solid, or the first shape is solid. If you looked at this straight from the top view, do you know how to do that? Your little view cube, you got it. So all I want you to do is draw another rectangle inside of that first rectangle without crossing over. So to draw that, that's a good idea. But first you got to go into the sketch mode up to top. You got to do a boundary line. Now do the rectangle. Okay, perfect. That would work. That would work. Double escape to get yourself out of it. And then you could pick it. Then you could straighten it. I love it. And then finish with the green checkbox. Now look at what you did. You should have a hole carved in there if you didn't do what? Put 4 ceilings on top of each other.
Yeah.
So you've got the right one. Now, if you were going to try to find that when you have that kind of problem, what I typically do is pick that one that you know you got the good inside for and type in HH.
And tied it, right?
Yep. That
And
hid
then
that
delete the
object.
rest.
Now delete the other ceilings. Okay, now you got rid. There was only 2 ceilings there. Now, that HH, what that did was, do you see the cyan border around your view?
Mm-hmm.
It's telling you that you've got some things temporarily hidden. Do you remember where we did the shade? Down there at the bottom, there's a pair of sunglasses. That's it. And say reset. And then you'll see you almost got that in the right spot. It would have been nice to look at that view a little bit differently when you were drawing it. And you would have been able to hit it dead on. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah or no?
Yeah, I got you.
You want me to show you how to do that? Zoom out just a little bit. Nope, don't go into your sketch mode yet. Oh, you could draw it that. What I would do, Tyler, is pick your section box, the box around everything, that weird looking thing. Stretch the top down to below your roof. There you go. Look at this thing from the top view. That was it. You had it, and to edit it, and then you could take that right over to where the other. No, I would leave that in there. Draw that line back. That's it. Click on that wall and drag it. Click and drag. This is what you want to begin to feel with Revit. Now come back and you'll see it'll actually snap. Watch, it'll actually snap to that stringer. Keep coming. Keep coming till you see how it turns those things blue? It's telling you it's snapping to that edge. Snap to the outside edge of that stair. And now do your finish. Yep. And you'll see that now your stair is going exactly where that ceiling was. And it's real important that you learn to drive it like that video game and don't do everything with the trimming and trying to exactly measure. You want to let Revit sort of guide you into how to draw that thing correctly. Do you remember how we took the section box off? That's close. Click in white space first. That's the view itself. Now scroll down a little bit on that property. There you go. Oh, you can even see it through the window. Isn't that cool? Is this class better than the BIM class?
What do you mean by the BIM class?
The BIM class you took. The BIM
Oh, yeah.
certificate.
We haven't spoke about British governments and mandates yet, so.
Yeah, well, we're probably not going to cover that too much.
Yeah.
Now, the ramp is like the older brother of the stair. It basically works the same way. So, generally, until you get good, you don't want to be drawing this stuff in a 3D view. So, you should really go to your plan view. Okay? And what we need to see is in the properties box, how far are you going? Because if you're trying to go from level 1 to level 2, I can tell you right now, the ramp's going to be 100 miles long because this is a handicap accessible ramp. So what we would want to do is we would want to say, nope, you see where it says base level 1 and then it's a 0? Do that at -3 feet. Don't take your cursor off of that properties box while we're working because it won't let you type then. All right. Now, see, you took it off of there. Don't take it off of there when we do this next one. Change the top level to be level 1. There you go. Hit the little arrow. Hit the little arrow. Okay, that works too. Now what's going to happen is we're going to have a ramp that basically goes 3 foot from -3 foot up to 0 and draw that near your front door. Outside, like it was an accessible, like we needed the handicap ramp. There you go. Okay, what's happening is you've gotten out of the run command, right? And that would show you, you're going to click on your screen. You don't always have to draw this stair or the ramp in the right place. What you sometimes do is just draw it and then move it to where you want. So click on your screen. Do you see how long that ramp needs to be? To go 3 feet, it's got to be 30 feet long. So what you do is you're only going to go half that distance. Go 15 and then double back on itself. Or you might go 17 and then double back a little bit. There you go. Just like we did the stair. Remember the stair? We went up from it and drew another one.
I just don't see the line. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Right there and back. And keep going till the end. See, it still needs some more drawn. See how it still says 6 feet remaining? And it didn't really like that too much. It wanted to triple back on itself.
Right.
So delete that little junk at the end. Go back to the run. Go back to the run. Go up a little bit. That would work too. That would work too. And once you've gotten to the end, you can click it out there. You can click it away out there. And hit checkbox. And I think it told you didn't make it enough. So that's one you can play with a little bit. The stair and the ramp.
Okay.
pick that ramp and make that ramp not be whatever it is. Let's make it monolithic, I think is the way we want to make it. You're on the handrail. So you can change that handrail. Try it. Try what you're doing. You see how that put a pipe handrail instead of a balustered handrail? But what I wanted you to do is I wanted you to look at the ramp, see if there's a good one in there that's going to be monolithic. Was there one under there? There's a ramp 1. What does ramp 1 do? Same thing as ramp 2. So that's usually one people will have to have some help with, because there would be walls below that, to basically support that.
Gotcha.
With me? And by all means, you could move that right now. You could click and drag that and push that over closer to your building. Nope, just the ramp. Just the ramp, not the rail. It will move the rail. You want to get used to getting the parent object. Click and drag that, and I think the rails will go with it. See the difference? Well, if you grab a rail, that's the child. The child can be separated from the parent, but if you grab the parent takes the child with it.
Right.
And it definitely doesn't look like it's getting to its full height. You definitely messed something up in there.
Hit edit sketch. Click on that line.
Uh-huh. And just drag it back.
Drag it, yeah, and then drag it all the way. Just drag it all the way out. Go as far as you can. Why is it still?
It's going extra. Now he deleted it. Now it's going to want to throw a fit. No, he didn't delete it.
I'm not sure what I did.
I think it got it that time.
Well,
Dude.
and it's
remaining.
It's tough because when you actually get a ramp to draw and you have to draw something precise, that's when you got to learn how to do the ramp better than you already know. Now that's where I'm saying is that's where the benefit of this idea of a Revit Online group is. You might only draw a ramp once every 3 years, right? So spending all the time to learn exactly how everything works, that's not what you want to do. We want to expose you to where the stuff is. You might be able to go to a YouTube video, or we might have an actual YouTube video where we get into the finer details of how to make that ramp actually work.
Right.
Okay? So on the architect tab, we've gotten pretty doggone far.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I typically come back to the railings and the curtain wall information in the second one because I want to do that when you're fresh on Sunday because it's a little bit brain straining. Then we're going to come back and make all of these a little bit better, more detail, but go back to the architecture tab. And I want to get through one more because we're about 15 minutes away from being an hour and a half. So if you go back to your level 1, I want to do the rooms. It escaped 2 times because you have an object selected. So do you see that next group is going to be model text, model lines, and model groups. If you draw model lines, Brian's going to punch you. Don't draw model lines.
Just don't
Model
use that
text.
button. Got it.
Just don't even do it. You're going to find that that's what we delete. If we draw lines, they're under annotate and they're called detail lines. Do not draw model lines. Do not. The model group we'll end up talking about a little bit more when we get a little bit more built. But let's talk about the rooms and the room separator. Okay, so if you go to room, you're going to find this is a lot like the ceiling. Now, do you see the light colored blue? It's actually joining those 2 rooms together.
Because of that wall. Yeah.
Because of that wall. But maybe we didn't want to join that wall. We want it to be open like that. come down to that hallway one. Pick that, pick there. Pick your next room down below there. Yep, finish all the other rooms other than that one room. Or actually, you can put one in that big double room, and it'll show you how to break it. Right? And one that you got it perfect. But we didn't want it to go double, so we're going to hit escape 2 times. And right next to the room is a room separator. And that's typically going to draw a pink line, and you just go from there to that wall. No, actually, I guess in the standard template, it's a black line. Now, if you went back to room, you would find that last room can be placed. Okay?
Okay.
And now what you would do is you would click on any one of those tags, like let's do your garage. Click once, click second time, and you would type in garage. Then maybe that one next to it's the kitchen, and then the dining. Just do a couple more, because we want to show you the power of these rooms. Give me one more. All right, perfect. So what happens is we can actually make this view be a colored floor plan. Okay. So if you're clicked in white space and we go to the properties of the view, scroll down just a little bit on that. You see where it says color scheme none? Nope. Above it, it says you're doing a space one, do a room one, and do the room name. And what you're going to see is it's going to put a different color for every type of room. So if you said okay, just say okay and watch what happens. Everything named room is yellow. So everything named patient room would be one color. Everything named corridor would be another color. And if you go into one of those rooms and rename one of the ones that says room to something different, you'll see it'll generate another color.
Okay.
Pretty cool. Then the neat thing that goes with that is the key. How do you put that key on there, Eric? Is that under views?
Annotate, I believe.
Go to annotate.
Color fill legend. All the way down to the right.
There you go. Yep. And then you would put that on your screen, and you would see that would be a legend for your floor plan. So now you can make yourself
get square footage information into those, can't you?
No, you cannot get. You would have to make a schedule. And you see how that's all interactive, Tyler, because that's where it really comes in powerful. Now, the nice thing is if you're smart and you're doing a job like we're working on right now, you might say the electrical rooms, I want to make all those red so they jump out to me so I know not to run any ductwork or pipe work above any electrical rooms.
Right.
Just an idea on how to be able to use that. So if you hit escape 2 times, let's see what's left on our architectural tab. Oh, you'll have to actually go to the architectural tab. So we now covered the rooms and the room separators. The areas are a very close cousin of the rooms. We'll talk about them. The openings. How do you... I typically don't use the openings a whole lot. I've begun to use the shaft openings on some of my buildings. I'll be glad to cover them, but we're not going to go deep into them. They're not real useful tools. But the next one over there is a datum. And the grid, you see the grid? And you'll notice the level was grayed out. But these are typically what you're going to do if you're going to have structural grid system. This is typically what you're going to draw second in your project. What you would draw first in your project is your levels. Okay. Now, like I said, you see how the levels is grayed out? Because we can only see levels when we are in an elevation or a section. So do you remember those 4 things I told you to draw in between? Hit escape 2 times so you're out of that column command. You remember those 4 that they look like little houses? They are a little square with a little triangle on top of them
No.
around the outside.
Right below your cursor.
Oh, the elevation
Yeah.
point things. Yeah.
Those elevations. If you double click on the triangle, not the square, but the triangle, if you double click on it, it would take you right to that elevation. If you went back to level 1, you did the one on the bottom, it would give you what, the north or the south elevation? South elevation. So that's the one looking towards the front of that thing. If you notice now, when you're in one of those views, your levels work. Okay. Now, a second ago, I said you draw your levels first and then your grids, and I'm going to show you why. Go back to level 1 and go to your grid, and you're going to draw a grid. Let's draw the vertical ones that are going up and down the page. So click right about there and pick and draw to the bottom. Perfect. Click. Now, what you'll notice is it put the number 1 in that bubble. If I clicked on that bubble at the bottom, it put the number 1 in it. Go ahead and click on that and put a X. What you'll find is now the next grid I draw, which it should start, lined up with that end and go to the bottom, it is now going to put in a Y. Okay? So the reason I tell you that you should hit double escape for me, the reason I tell you should put your levels in first is if you double click on that south elevation and take me back to that south elevation, do you see where it put those grids is related to the objects you've drawn? Well, if this was going to be a high rise, let's say, and you put all your grids in first, I want you to now put another level line in, like you're going to have like 3 more stories or something like that. So go up where we had the grid and hit level. And you actually probably want to draw from the other end. Perfect. And drag it and go over to the other side. That's level 3. Do a couple more for me. That's level 4. That's perfect. Now go back to your plan view and draw me 1 more grid, and I'm going to show you why you should always draw your level lines first. If you go back to that south elevation, you'll notice that it leans the grid up with your level. So by having those levels in first, then all your column bubbles in elevations will be at the same height. Doesn't mean you can't fix it. If you'll pick either the X or the Y, zoom into it a little bit. You see the circle? You click and drag that. You're going to notice the Y is going to go with it. And when you do that, now the lock turned on. So now all 3 of them are locked together.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, typically for larger buildings, for steel structured buildings, the first thing you're going to do is put in those grid lines. And you're going to say, I've got a 30-foot bay or a 20-foot bay or whatever it is. That's usually some of the first work you do on an industrial building. Typically, a residential house, you're never even going to worry too much about the grids because there are no columns. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Tired?
A little bit.
It's Friday, right?
Did you learn anything?
Oh, yeah.
It's a shame you can't hit save. I told you to reset that, didn't I?
Well, I thought I did, but I must have been a little late.
We'll have to figure that out. I'm sure we can figure it out one way or another. But let's do this. Let's everybody load 2025 for Sundays.
What?
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 Let's everybody
That's a
load.
lot of work.
Well, don't you want to see what 2025 is like?
Let's see, I'm in 2022, 24. I'll do 24.
So 2025, you'll get a 30-day trial, and that's how long we're going to teach this class. And that way we can see some new commands and talk about the new commands. And we can say, is it really worth even going from 2020 to 2025? That's 5 years of upgrades. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even think Autodesk earned its money in 5 years of upgrades.
No, there it went.
What happened?
I went to save, and then I just clicked out of it to stop it, and she gone.
She gone? Guess what?
I think she's gone.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gone. But it'd be worthwhile drawing something a little more realistic using those commands that we just had.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid if you load the 2025. Try it with the 2025. Try to have yourself something drawn, because in order to learn the next commands, we really need to have a backbone for it. In other words, in order to show you the annotations and things like that. And next meet or on Sunday when we get into this, what we're probably going to do, we'll probably do 2 hours, and then we'll probably talk for a little bit, and then we'll probably do another 2 hours to try to get us through those other tabs. The annotate, fly through the massing and site, fly through the collaborate, take a break, and then we'll get into the manage and the modify. That's going to give us our foundation. By the end of Sunday night, you should have a good foundation of where to go from. You're killing me by opening up that one. You know that's the bad file. That's the engineer's file.
It's
That's
the one
not
you
our
gave me.
file.
You
Well,
gave it to me.
No, you downloaded that one. You should have downloaded the mechanical Rev 11. I would never have a view that looks like that. And you see, that's the irony, is when we start talking about it this way, that's videos that we could actually send to the engineers who worked on this job, because I promise you they would like to work better than they're working right now.
Right.
Because that looks terrible compared to what it looks like in our file.
Yeah.
And it's because all of the duct is gray and all of the pipe is gray. And that's really hard to read what's going on. Plus, you'll find it's also sluggish because some of the other issues they got going on. So
I remember trying to hunt the condensate line in this.
Yes.
And yeah.
But I will tell you, I would like you to try, and if Ginger's still listening, or if she comes back to listen to this, I'd like to have you guys both try to draw a building using those commands that we went through. Have at least 4 walls, have at least a couple doors, put at least a couple windows. Don't just put the standard ones. Show me that you know how to go to load a family. Put some furniture in there. See if you can't make the kitchen and the bathroom and the bedroom. See if you can't use the commands that we went over. And then Sunday, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to annotate those and turn those into drawings.
Gotcha.
I think that hour and a half went by pretty quickly, to be quite honest with you. I appreciate you driving. I would hope, and by all means, if you get that fixed too, you can always stay in the 2020. You know how I feel about 2020.
Right.
Yep, you can test that out and see if you can get that to work. If you do get that to work, Eric wants to know how that works. He was going to want to duplicate that process.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna have to make a new profile, and I think that's what it boils down to: is having to make a new profile every so often.
Maybe. No, I know that it was just banging it back and forth before it expired. But if you let it
Well,
expire,
yeah, if you bang both of them back and forth and keep resetting, I think it works. But you have to have at least one that's good. Is my point.
well, I like our second option. I like if you don't mind downloading 2025, I'll probably do that tomorrow when we meet on
Yep.
Sunday. We'll be looking at 2025.
Yep.
All right, Misty, did you want to cover anything on what you're
Um,
drawing, or you're pretty
no,
done?
yeah, I'm just trying to get. I got no more work to do on the hood deck, and I'll be done in probably
Well,
another hour.
yeah, well, you can do that tomorrow. It didn't look like Jason joined in, so I
Okay.
knew he was excited about it, but it's really tough because I get it. Ginger and Tyler, I know I'm exhausted too. But I think if we put this 3 weeks into it, I think you guys could really be doing BIM should the work come up with Century. And if we're talking about the other work, Sunday, whenever I go into some ranting when we're not actually learning about the software, I will give you an idea of how we can actually take work that needs to be done right now. I think I mentioned it to you a little bit, Tyler. We could enter that facilities management model, and then I wouldn't be afraid to approach the client and sell them a facilities management model for that project we're working on.
Right.
And that could be a lot of data entry. Another thing that we're going to probably do, probably in the second week, is we're going to look at learning some more about how the Deluxe works. And then I'm going to want you guys to sort of be preachers in the trailer to try to get the people in the field to use Deluxe a little bit more in a little bit better way than they're already using it.
I
Make
think they
sense?
were all over it in the beginning, but part of the issue they were having is certain models not matching certain drawings, and I mean, they thought it was the disconnect between BIM and Dalux, but now they're seeing it was framing guides, it was electrical, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, well, see now, right now, the framing and the electrical and all of that is up to date, and all the framing is in there. So they should be. I want you to sort of, if you're talking to people, ask them if they've checked the latest model that we got last week. As of about a week and a half ago, that was all updated. It should be very valid information. I know some people like it. I do know some people like it. I want to learn how to use it a little bit better. And I do think it would be a valid way for us to communicate on. Yeah, I think it would benefit us on the project with where we are. So,
Right. And then tomorrow, I don't know if you're going to be busy or not, but I'm going to have my laptop in the office and kind of probably play around. I'm still going to try and convince you to change your domain name because I'm thinking it's just going to decrease the flow of traffic having something where it's a word with a number in the middle of it.
I know you don't like it.
It's not that I don't like it. I think it's going to be too complicated for a lot of people.
I hear you.
We got to dumb it down to U.S. standards. You know what I mean?
How much did they want for Rog4ue?
It was the same price.
All right.
But
Well,
it changes it to .net. That's the only small hiccup.
well, what I would say is we could run both domains. That's how those websites work.
Yeah.
I'm
You'll
not
pay
opposed.
double, but
I'm not opposed to running it on both domains, and then you can see the traffic, or you can use one of those as your prototype domain, and then one of those as, once you get things working for sure, as your final domain.
right.
I just know a lot. The .net. The nice thing about the other with the .com is you can type in that word and hit Control Enter, and it'll go to the .com.
What is Rog4.com currently?
I think it just takes you to sell it.
Huge demands.
Yep.
Yeah.
So And if you want to call me tomorrow, I'll be glad to give you that credit card information. I would like to get that one that is the Rog4ue.
Get it rolling at least.
Get that one rolling at least, correct?
And see, I'm going to talk to my guy about it more, but I think we can at least route it to where when they type it in the browser, it'll be Rog4, and then it'll bring them to ROG.
Absolutely. Once you get it to one, you can have it redirect to the other. I don't think that's a difficulty.
Exactly.
So I appreciate you joining on Friday night. Believe me, I was sort of dreading it. I've been dreading it, but I think that we just need to bite the bullet for the next 3 weeks. I'm going to try to do this hour and a half, 4 times during the week, and a 4-hour one on Wednesday. That's going to give you 10 hours a week. Like I told you, I would be glad to cover. And then that's pretty close to the training time that I used to try to train people in Revit. So
Okay.
I think the hour and a half is a good time frame. The 4-hour, we're going to see how that works on Sunday because that might be a lot.
What time on Sunday are you aiming for that?
What do you guys think? You guys want to do 2 to 6, 4 to 8,
Well,
noon to 4? What do you think? Anybody got a vote for Sunday?
I have plans on Sunday, but I do not know the time yet, so I will be in and out of whatever we're doing.
That I don't think that that's a problem. I don't think that that's a problem. And to be honest with you, I think some of what I'm going to do in the Sunday session is we're probably going to get maybe a half hour or an hour video of another person who's teaching you Revit, and we'll watch how they teach the Revit. So some of it will sort of be like automatic pilot. And my hope is to just sort of have input, maybe pause the video and say, well, you could do this or you could do that. Or maybe Tyler could interject something he did that differently than what you showed me. That's the idea.
Gotcha. And I think tomorrow when I call you, I'm going to try and set up the Discord and show you kind of how that can run, because you can have multiple screens shared at the same time in that too.
I would like to cover that on Sunday because I would like to. I can talk for 4 hours, but it's going to take a toll on me. So it would be good for you to spend 20 minutes talking about the Discord, and that way, that stream becomes more of a conglomerate of all the different things and what we're going to do and what our plans are. Maybe we talk a little bit about the ideas of this future business stuff, cleaning up these files and some of that kind of stuff. So your discourse, call me tomorrow to get your credit card number so that you can get the domain so you can start to play with that stuff.
Okay.
And then
I'll text Caleb as well and see if I can get him on that same call so we can all shoot ideas around.
Yeah, by all means. By all means. I appreciate you guys joining. I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. And, the big part is I'd like to get that domain, because once we get that, we need to set up the emails and the YouTube users. I want to get this off of my Your BIM and get this over to the Rogue. So in other words, right now it's all going to my Your BIM in that top corner, where you subscribe to is Your BIM. I want to be subscribing to Rogue, and I want to be putting all these videos up on the Rogue side. Okay?
I can always make more of those cards for B. Mitchell at Century Contractors.
I hear you, buddy. I hear you. Hey, you guys be good. Have a good day tomorrow. And what did we say? Pick a time, Tyler. What's good for you? What do you want to do Wednesday?
I'm good or Sunday.
Sunday, I meant, yeah.
I'm good with whatever. I mean, even if you want to split it up into 2 different 2-hour sessions, I'm cool either way.
Yeah, that might be better too.
Like I said, I want to do that 4-hour session because I think in the end, by the end of 3 weeks, if we start getting some traffic and some people catching on to this stuff, I'd like them to be able to join. So it might be 4 hours long, but I might play a video in the middle of it that we're sort of reviewing so that you can take a break.
Come on. Hey.
I'm going to say let's do that 4 to 8.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I'll send out the invitation sometime tomorrow, and we'll talk on Sunday. You can call me tomorrow, and I'll give you that little bit of information. We can do a little bit. I'll see you guys all back on Sunday.
All
That
right.
sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
Have a
Bye.
good evening. Thanks for joining.
Of course. Y'all have a good night.
Good night.